So I've had like an online addiction for maybe 17, 18 years or something like that. And the thing is that I wasn't that way in high school or college. Like, I grew up kind of before smartphones were popularized. And, like, I graduated high school in 2006. And then I went to a college for like a year, and then worked and went back to college at a different time. But I remember I liked playing music a lot. I was trying to read. I was into writing. I was more of a productive person. Um, and then just other than homework, like going on YouTube, playing online games and things like that, like that just became my life, like school and that, and whatever kind of job that I did in the middle, that was my life. Um, So for me, like the one thing that my online addiction kind of takes care of is loneliness. Like it's a good background noise. I feel like I know certain people as far as like creators that I follow or people that I subscribe to. A lot of them I've just been around for so long that they recognize my name or they know that I exist. So, I mean, it's totally parasocial, and I didn't really have problems socializing before. Um, but I remember that I met someone, like I was in a relationship with someone who was online constantly. And the thing is, I kind of started to be that way because I wanted to feel smarter. I wanted to learn different things. And then I felt like I didn't connect with this person in a lot of ways that I used to when we weren't together. So it was kind of like a way to go out and kind of attain some kind of, you know, to be around people that I felt were more social butterflies without actually being with them, without alienating who I was with. So it was kind of like keeping that at a parameter without um, actually being a part of it. So it does kind of feel odd to say that that was how I was when that's not the way my life is going. Some of it is that I actually went to boot camp and then A school in South Carolina for the Navy. So the classroom didn't have windows, and like it didn't allow electronics, and you had to kind of burn everything after you were done reading it or learning it. You couldn't leave the building with it. Like as far as like your homework and notes and stuff, like the books and the lessons were one thing. The book you actually had to make yourself. You wrote, your notes or whatever with the lesson. But kind of the thing is that I didn't like certain things about socializing as someone who was like 20, becoming 21 and stuff. Like, I didn't really like where I was, but I wanted to adapt to the people that I was around in a normal and healthy way. Like, I wanted to get over my hangups. And I met someone who was just comfortable having hangups and who had positive attributes that had nothing to do with partying or drinking and things like that. Like, I liked going to concerts. I liked seeing shows at bars and clubs. and the person that I ended up being in a relationship with liked being a homebody and only talked to the two friends that he went to high school with and grew up with. And one of them kind of quit talking to him, so he only had like one best friend, and then his brother was like his other friend. And then his neighbor was his brother's friend. So I saw those people a lot. And the thing is, like, he wasn't incapable of being lively, respected, or even popular. Like, he had a lot of good qualities, but they weren't something that you would just know by being in proximity to him. He is one of the most generous people ever. He was one of the most accepting. He was one of the most forgiving people ever, you know. But he wasn't anything to look at, and trying to get him to do things that normal people do was like pulling teeth. Like, it was incredibly difficult. So, like, I didn't have someone to, like, kind of be my partner to go out and meet people as, on the same level as they are. Like, I had someone that was avoided, that I couldn't really control or find reliable enough to bring around people. And at the time, I was so young, like, I thought I could live with it, or that there was some kind of workaround. But he was so set in his ways, and he was so inconsiderate of what I wanted, that he didn't make the changes that I asked for, even if it meant just regular social growth, or even, like, approaching regular social growth. And so I shared a car and I knew that, like, his level of insecurity and desire for me to be out, like, I didn't go out, even though I should have made friends. Like, he had a lot of jealousy issues and red flags and other things that kind of just made me stay at home. But he was parasocial, and I was also becoming more and more parasocial. I tried to socialize at school more than he did, but I tried to make school a place that I was socializing in primarily. Like, I actually cared enough to try to make that a part of my life. He didn't, and he had no motivation to whatsoever. So yeah, like, I never actually made those changes. Like, I was 20, I got married. It wasn't something that I decided to keep in my life. So there was a separation and divorce. But, like, the thing is, most people in my like, school class or whatever that I graduated with, they were extremely selective and picky. And it wasn't even like a looks thing. It wasn't even like a status thing. It was more of like either a socialization aspect or a money thing. Like, they actually took red flags very seriously. I didn't really know what I was dealing with. I just wanted people to like him, even though he was hard to, get to know enough to appreciate that. what I came to realize is that people, they aren't wrong about people like that. Like, I would not have been wrong to totally ignore him and never get to know him, because that was my social inclination. My proclivities were telling me, like, don't waste your time on this asshat, you know? Because he tried to pay for something for me when I was trying to haggle at one of the few stores that I could, which is something I enjoyed doing quite a lot. And that I did do quite a lot. So I really did not like the fact that he would try to jump into my business transaction and become a part of it. And he was actually very bad with money too. But I saw something sweet in the fact that he would do that and decided to put up with it. So, so yeah, there's a lot of clinginess. There was a lot of him expecting me to, like, put my work on the sidelines or to stay up late talking to him every night when I had school very early in the morning, with real consequences if I messed it up. So I really did not get what I needed occupationally or even socially with the people at my school that I really needed to have a better relationship with. So it did really impair my life. So, yeah, the thing that I want to say is that I tend to see good things in every single person, or things that I want to appreciate, or things that I want to encourage or discourage when I'm talking to other people. And, you know, like, I was in a, like, codependency with someone who didn't give a fucking crap about other people. You know, would kind of walk by everyone and everything that could help him, you know, unless it was just, you know, some kind of, like, nerd setup. Like, nerds have their own way of being around each other, like if he met the right nerd or something like that. But I mean, like, that's the thing, because I was really good with getting to know people that were, like, kind of in my scene, which, you know, was kind of rock music, alternative music, middle class people, you know, people that liked, you know, really edgy and subversive things. So I was, you know, good with people who were a little bit more rough, you know, didn't mind to confront some people and things like that. And he, you know, I guess was around the people that kind of just didn't have a very strong backbone or whatever. And I mean, like, in this society, you can't really be around, or, you know, someone that actually does that. Like, you have to stand up for yourself. So, like, that one bad relationship that I had years ago, like, it did, like, set me back, but it also changed who I was, to where I don't really want to be around people like I used to, because I either see them as mean, you know, transactional and in an unconcerned way or whatever, like, because, like, I don't see anything that they can give me that I, you know, feel like I need in a way that I would change for them, you know, like. And it's not like, even like, I don't want to change for myself. I do, you know, but I don't really know what to do. Like, I'm almost 38. You know, I don't have children. I'm single. I don't regret my life, you know. It's just, like, even meeting, like, one or two people, like even in my mid-30s, that I wanted to talk to, that I was really serious about, that like I knew that I was more important than whatever they were doing. Like however they were living, whoever they were with that was fucking them around or not serious enough or whatever. Like I knew that I was important enough to ask for their consideration. Even though that's a douche move, even though it could blow up in my face, like, I'm looking at like 4 ovaries that could produce a baby, thinking like, hey, do you want this? Like, I don't want to be a victim of, external, euthanization of my offspring. I don't want to be, contributing to the eradication of my gene pool. And at the same time, like, I take that kind of thing seriously. Like, I wasn't, very pro for having a child until I was in my late 20s. And then I said, I don't really care. I've done everything I want to do, in my youth that would matter to me. So, like, if I had a kid now, whatever, like, so before that, it was like the biggest horror story, the one thing I didn't want, like something that I was adamant would ruin my life. And then at a certain point, I was just like, yeah, none of that was right. Like, but because I'm old enough and good enough now, I'm fine with the idea. But it would have really scared me before. But yeah, like, that's the thing, because I didn't get like a lot of support after that relationship. I didn't get any support. And even though, like, I've been incredibly good to douchebags and sweet and, like, never wrong to someone that deserved me to be wrong to them, like, other people have kind of cast me out as, someone not to take seriously when, I know that I am a lot better and could tear them apart and embarrass and humiliate them, and am like 1,000 times more real and 100 times more cool. It's just like, like these stupid ass bitches, like they don't care if I'm cool or